Zaha Hadid was known as the Queen of the Curve. She got this nickname because her designs for buildings typically used many curves and slopes rather than sharp corners. Hadid was born in Baghdad, Iraq, and studied architecture in London. She started her own firm in 1979 and gained worldwide attention in 1993 for designing a unique fire station in Germany. Her best-known projects include the 2012 London Olympics Aquatics Centre and the Al Wakra Stadium in Qatar, currently being built for the 2022 World Cup. A pioneering female architect, Hadid won many prestigious awards for her work. And this is Mr. Salish. Here we have our 15th week lesson, Tracing the Legacy of Zaha Hadid, Architecture's Esteemed Anomaly. It's written by Margaret Rhodes. As you are listening to this video, you will be watching different aspects of the greatest works of Zaha Hadid. And the writer just wants to say the life and achievements of Zaha Hadid. Zaha Hadid, as I said, the first woman to become so famous and prosperous and successful in the field of architecture. She got the architecture's highest honor of Pritzker Prize. She was the first woman to bag that award. She celebrated designs incorporated sweeping curves, open spaces, and complex sculptural fluidity, etc. She died March 31st at a Miami hospital. She was 65 years then. Her architecture firm announced her death, saying she had contracted bronchitis this week and had a heart attack while being treated. The Iraqi-born Miss Hadid was once derided as a paper architect whose designs were visually impressive but seldom built. In recent years, after winning the Pritzker in 2004, she became one of the busiest and most influential architects in the world. Among other projects, she designed the Aquatic Centre, as I said before, the 2012 Olympic Games in London, museums in Cincinnati, Glasgow, and Rome, an auto planet in Germany, and an opera house in China. The writer says, among architects emerging in the last few decades, architect Richard Rogers told Britain's Guardian newspaper that no one had any more impact than she did in the field of architecture. As one of the few women prominent in the masculine world of architecture, Miss Hadid struggled for years to gain recognition. She adopted a formidable, even flamboyant personal style that matched her uncompromising approach to her art. Here comes. This is how you watch different sorts of her curves and buildings. As you are just following this video, you will be amazed looking at the plans and the designs of the one and only famous architect. God forbid that a woman should have an idea about anything. Once Zaha told CBS News, Miss Hadid was not a utilitarian designer of the square box school, but rather believed that architecture should be an expressive art form on its own right. She said, I don't think that architecture is only about shelter. It's only about a very simple enclosure, she told Newsweek in 2011. It should be able to excite you, to calm you, to make you think. Miss Hadid courted controversy throughout her career, beginning when she was told that her early designs, often rendered as semi-abstract paintings, could not be built. With the help of computers, she proved that her flowing, irregularly shaped spaces followed sound engineering principles and would not collapse under their own weight. Yet some of her most distinguished designs exist only on paper, and several museum exhibitions have featured her work as if she were a painter, not a builder. In 1994, Miss Hadid entered a contest to design an opera house in Cardiff, Wales. Her creation was described in sensuous detail by New York Times critic Herbert Marshap. Curving glass facades wrap the perimeter of the waterfront site, while the jewels, facets, rhomboid shapes, volumes containing workshops, rehearsal halls, and other spaces are clustered like crystals around an inner courtyard. Miss Hadid won the contest, but her opera house never got beyond the model and design stage. An athletic stadium was built instead. In 2003, Miss Hadid completed her first building in the United States, the Richard and Louise Rosenthal Center for Contemporary Art in Cincinnati. Set in small space on a street corner, the museum is built as a set of interlocking concrete blocks. The outdoor sidewalk extends through the glass wall into the interior, creating an urban carpet in Miss Hadid's works. Inside, soaring stairways slice through the atrium-like angled works of sculpture, teetering always on the edge of imbalance. Washington Post architecture critic Benjamin Fogery wrote, "These intersections show Hadid at her brilliant best, challenging and appealing to mind and spirit as well as the senses." Architecture enthusiasts took note, and Miss Hadid became more than a curiosity, more than a sculpture of uninhabited volumes. She won the Pritzker, often called the Nobel Prize of Architecture, and commissions poured into her London office from around the world. She designed an office and factory complex for BMW in Leipzig, Germany, Architecture Center in Baku, Azerbaijan, the London Aquatics Centre, an opera house in Glasgow, and perhaps most memorably, the Maxi Museum of Contemporary Art in Rome. Miss Hadid did not have a signature style, but there were some characteristics that many of her buildings had in common. Walls were seldom vertical, few columns were in view, floors and hallways were often curved, and stairways seemed to float in space. In addition to buildings, she tried her hand at other forms of design, including furniture, jewelry, and pottery. If you think the museum should be a white box, then I suppose you might see it that way, she said once. But art through the centuries has been displayed in Baroque places and in churches, and people don't say that takes away from it. Zaha Muhammad Hadid. She was born on October 31, 1950 in Baghdad. Her father was a wealthy businessman, a key figure in progressive wing of Iraqi politics, and a minister of finance before the regime of Saddam Hussein. So to say, she had no immediate survivors. People who encountered Miss Hadid said she resembled the buildings in the sense that both pulsated with an energy that could not be contained by four walls. "We don't make nice little buildings," she said. "People think that the most appropriate building is a rectangle because that's typically the best way of using space. But is that to say that landscape is a waste of space? The world is not a rectangle." Miss Hadid was constantly on the move around the world, overseeing her various projects. Zaha Hadid was known as the Queen of the Curve. She got this nickname because her designs